Hey everybody, Scott DiGregorio, your mortgage guy. Continuing on with this series where you're qualified, well, don't go house shopping without learning these 10 things. And in this third video, what I want to talk about are seller paid closing costs. And let me break this down. So very often when people are buying homes, they don't have the money for the down payment and or the closing costs. It's not uncommon for closing costs to get rolled into the deal, but it has to be rolled in kind of in a somewhat unusual way. It has to be added to the contract price. So the way it typically works, if I'm a seller and you say, hey Scott, I'll buy your house for $200,000, I'll say, fine. I have, you might say, look, I have $6,000 or $8,000, whatever the figure is, of closing costs and prepaids and insurances and all this other stuff that I want you to pay for me. I'll say, fine. I'll sell you the house for $206,000 and I'll give you back $6,000 at closing. So I still get my $200,000 and you don't have to come up with that extra money. And you might think, wow, it's so nice that the seller's paying this for me. They're not. You're financing it, right? So now I'm doing a loan based on that $206,000 purchase price. So essentially you're financing in, and that's how it works. And here's what I want you to understand with this. Asking for seller paid closing costs is very common, but it weakens your offer. You got to understand that, whether it's real or not, sellers think that when you add things like that to the transaction, it makes the deal less likely to close versus somebody putting down 20% and paying their own closing costs. I could argue back and forth as to whether or not that's true, but regardless, perception's reality, and that's a common perception amongst sellers and real estate professionals that are out there. So look, when you're rolling in seller paid closing costs, prepare to pay a higher percentage of the asking price. It's not uncommon for my clients to put in a full price offer and then have the closing costs come out of that. So they're paying, 94, 96, 98% of asking price. You have to understand that if you're weakening your offer on one end, you got to strengthen it on the other. It has to be a win-win. Negotiation should always be such where everybody walks away feeling like they've won. So look, if you're in a seller paid closing cost situation, understand you're going to pay a little bit more for the house, but make sure your agent is preventing you from overpaying for the property. Keep in mind, full asking price could be a ripoff or a steal depending on the market. Your agent should be putting together CMAs to validate and document what is fair market value for that house based on what is sold recently. That's what the appraiser is going to do. I'm Scott DiGregorio, your mortgage guy. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.